well, finally 905 decided to give himself a nice little Christmas present. And I have to admit, it's been long overdue. So let's look at where and how it all started, and what parts did I use, and why those parts I used, for those that are interested. So basically, more than 5 years ago, my laptop died, and surely I wasn't expecting it, so I scraped what savings I had together and at that time and built myself what I would call a starter PC. It had AMD FX 6350 in it, the 6-core AMD CPU, 2x4 gigabytes of 1866 Corsair low-profile RAM, and I got about 100 pounds worth of GPU, AMD Radeon 7790, and basically as 120 gigabytes of SSD just to run the system off. During these 5 years, I only upgraded the GPU, first to the GTX 970 and then to GTX 1060. But honestly, only now I started to notice that the CPU was holding the system back. So I had to do the upgrade. And you know what, I was 100% positive that I will do the AMD AM4 build with 2700X. But then I get an offer shortly before the Black Friday to pick up the 9700K for 380 pounds. Only like 80 pounds more than this 2700X, and you know what, I said fuck it, and then made my first purchase for the upcoming PC. And 9700K for me is the perfect CPU. I mean, this system will be used basically as the main home PC, mostly YouTube, browsing, movies, etc., and some casual gaming, and nothing beats the Intel Core pure horsepower wise for gaming. And if you plan to build a system for gaming, go 9700K, not 9900K. It runs 15 degrees cooler, and if the silicon quality is the same, it will overclock higher. And the 9900K doesn't bring anything to the table gaming-wise, since hardly games utilize the hyper-threading. So meanwhile, I put my motherboard, CPU, and RAM up for sale on eBay, and successfully sold all of my old parts. So this is how the case looked like after I've done all the selling of my old parts. So it was time to take all the rest of the system out and do a proper cleaning of the case. Basically, this is just the first stage of the upgrade. I will be upgrading the case when they finally launch it. The ROG demonstrated a new line of cases in CES 2018, and I want one of those. They're not out yet, but I will grab one when they finally launch. So until they do so, I will reuse my old case, which is NZXT 210 Source Elite. I mean, it's a decent case, but it doesn't have any bells and whistles, like there's no fan filters, and the dust gets in like crazy, and you know, stuff like that, and there's no room to mount the radiators really, so I have to upgrade the case, but I want one of those ROG cases, so I'm waiting for them to launch those. And this is how the case looked when I took everything out and did the proper cleaning. Back to the build, and the storage I was using was the old 120 gigabyte SSD and 3 terabytes of HDD and a couple of old laptop drives. I put the SSD and the HDD back inside of the case, but I will take the SSD out when I'll do my next upgrade. That is, I want to put in the 970 Evo NVMe drive. Probably 500 gigabytes will do just fine. For motherboards, I chose to go with Maximus 11G, mostly because I decided that this is going to be ROG build, and the second reason was that I didn't want to go with the Hero or the Code, because the VRMs on those boards are slightly worse than on Gene and Extreme. And frankly, I can't fit Extreme in this case, and since I don't have any other cases at the moment, I decided to go with the Gene. And thirdly, basically this board has everything I need. One PCIe times 16 slot. The SLI is there, and even if it wasn't, it probably wouldn't run 2 GPUs anyway. And it has only 2 RAM slots, and that's fine, since I'm not planning to run anything more than 2 times 8 gigabyte RAM sticks. Basically, this is all I need. Cooling wise, until I upgrade the case, I will be running my old Gelid Tranquilo Revision 2 air cooler. That I changed the fan on, and the fan is Noctio NFA12X25. I highly recommend the fan. It's ugly, as all Noctio fans, but it cools exceptionally and it runs quiet. And if you're looking for a fan upgrade for your heatsink, I highly recommend this fan. For a thermal paste, I will be using the Arctic MX4, another product that I highly recommend. And lastly, the RAM. Oh yes, RAM is the cost-saving measure of this build. The thing with the RAM is I can't fit a tall RAM under the CPU cooler. So for now I'm using the 2x4 GB of Corsair LPX memory. First I will upgrade the SSD to NVMe drive, then I will upgrade the case, then I will upgrade the cooling, and finally I will stick in the high-speed G.Skill memory RAM. But for now, this Corsair will have to do. Now, speaking of my GTX 1060, when I was planning my build and I thought to myself, I can't use this CVJ graphics card. It's small and it will look ridiculous in this system. So I put it on a sale on eBay, and to my surprise it was actually sold the very next day. So I thought, alright, let's buy an ROG 1060 instead, right? It turns out that 1060, 1070 and 1080, they all look the same. Only on 1060, it doesn't come with LEDs on the card. So I looked up that 1070 costs almost £500, and I decided to check on eBay. And there we go, cheapest 1070, starting price £250. No bets yet, ends in 3 hours. I said, what the hell, let's bid. And I won. And I might have taken a bad gamble here. I mean, it could be used for Bitcoin mining for the past year for like 24/7, but he didn't look like a miner to me. He wrote that it was his personal card. He hardly ever used it lately. He didn't have any other GPUs for sale, nor did he sell any other GPUs in the past year. He had other listings, mostly for car parts, and as I said, I might have taken a gamble here, or might have found me a sweet little deal here. On to the next one. It wouldn't be the ROG build without the Thor PSU. And this is the 850 watt one. And yeah, it's an overkill, and I don't care. It's gorgeous. The thing is, it's a heavily modified Seasonic unit with a 10-year warranty. Yes, it's expensive at £200, but it will outlast this system, and I will reuse it in the next system as well. So I'm looking at it as an investment more than the power supply unit. So yeah, that's about it. The first stage of upgrade is completed. As I said, I have to change the case, but it's not even for the sale yet. Then I want to do the proper water cooling inside of the case, you know, with all the bits and the bobs, the D5 pump, the 360 millimeters of copper radiator, the whole lot. And when I do that, then I want to upgrade the RAM as well afterwards. But on a side note, I have to mention that there's a one big fucking fail with this system. And I will do a separate video about the next few days. And the fail is about the PSU and the motherboard and the fact that they don't fucking connect to each other. But I will do a fucking separate video about that. So if you're interested in that, stay tuned, and I'll upload that in a couple of days as well. Anyway, this was my build vlog. Basically, that's everything I wanted to cover in this video. If you have any questions, leave them down below and I'll make sure I answer to those. Anyway, take care guys. I'm ninezerofive and I'm out.